G'day, Stu from UAVfutures here, and today I'm going to be showing you my ground station. So since my last video I got a bunch of people saying, Stuart, can you please show us the exact ground station you use? So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to go through the components of what I use and why I chose each one. And we're also going to be making sure that we can build it so it's really quick to set up and easy to pack away. Alright, let's get started. Alright, first things first, if you want to know why you should be using a ground station, click on this link just here and that'll explain it because I did a past video on why it's important. Alright, let's continue. So obviously you're going to need your goggles and things like that to use a ground station. Just make sure that your goggles have a video import. So I know that these Fat Sharks, these Attitude V2s do, so I can run my video straight in here from my receiver, so that's what you need to have. If your goggles don't have a video in, then sorry, you can't use a ground station. Okie dokie. Alright, now in the ground station that I personally use, I don't have very much. I've just got a few things, and I have a diversity receiver, a cloverleaf antenna, a helical, and a power source. And I'll explain what each one is and why I chose each part. Alright, so for my receiver, and this is probably the most important part, I have the FR632, and this is a 5.8 gigahertz diversity receiver. And why that is important is because that allows you to connect two different antennas on here, hence why I have two different antennas, and it will actually choose the clearest signal or the strongest signal and send that feed to your goggles. So it will automatically choose the antenna with the best reception at that moment in time. So it'll jump back and forth and you can't even notice when you got the goggles on, but you have a great FPV feed. Now the FR632, for what it does, it is a fantastic value little diversity receiver. So I think mine was like 80 Australian dollars and that's probably like 40 US dollars, I don't know. So whatever it is extremely cheap, so I definitely recommend picking one of these up. This is a fantastic receiver. There's some more expensive ones out there. I know that Immersion RC has one and some other people. You can even get four-way diversity, but I definitely think for the price, this is one of the best diversity receivers on the market. So that's why I'm going to be using the FR632, and I've had no problems with it. I absolutely love it. Plus this one, I can just scan the channels. So if I can't find my channel or I want to watch someone else's FPV feed, I can just hold this button down. It'll just automatically scan through and find the next channel that has a signal on it. So it's fantastic. Alright, now because we have a diversity receiver, we need to run two different types of antennas. So I am using the Omwave cloverleaf just here, and I think that is the best FPV value antenna on the market. I did a little comparison, so if you want to check that out, you can click on this link here, and that'll explain why I'm using the Omwave. But pretty much for the price, you can't beat these things. They are fantastic, and because it's on the ground station, we don't have to worry about it breaking or anything like that. So even these little sort of exposed parts up the top, you don't have to worry because it's just going on your receiver. It's not flying around on the back of your quad. And why we want to use a cloverleaf on one of these diversity ports just here is because this will give you good coverage in a 360 degree sort of circle around where you're flying or around where your ground station is. So it doesn't matter which direction you're actually flying in, you should be getting some good signals on this antenna. Alright, and the other antenna we're going to be using on here is the almost forgot it then. The VAS 5-turn helical. Now helicals are really important because they allow for a high gain antenna that is sort of focused in a beam. So if you're getting some bad reception in some places, or you need a lot of penetration, there's a lot of scrub sort of bushes and stuff around and you need to get that signal coming through, or if you're flying through buildings and stuff like that, a helical is the way to go. But you will not get very good reception once you fly out of this beam. So that's why you use it in tandem with this one. So you try to stay in this beam most of the time, but then when you come out of the beam from this helical, you're still going to be getting reception on this one. Now, I've only used this VAS 5-turn helical and a cheap Chinese one, so I haven't used too many sort of helical antennas, but this one was significantly better than the cheap Chinese helical. So with these going hand in hand on this diversity receiver, it should mean we should get some really good penetration using this one and some all-round coverage using that one. And finally, you just need a way to power the thing. Now, for me, I'm going to be using a 3-cell LiPo. It does not need to be a high C sort of rating battery. This is actually the first one I ever got. I got this from Banggood when I got into the hobby. It's only 25C or something, but you really don't need a very high C at all. And a really good tip, make sure that you can power your diversity receiver from your LiPo, and also you can power your goggles as well, because I just want to have one battery to power my Fat Sharks over here because they can take 2 to 3S, and something that can also power my diversity receiver. So this battery will power both of these because both of these can take 2 and 3S batteries. Now, speaking of powering your sort of ground station, what I've had to do, I've had to sort of create this little cable just here. One end runs, so obviously one end connects to my battery, and the other end, this is an old like laptop charger and stuff like that, that actually fits in here with my Fat Shark, so that's how I'm going to be powering my Fat Sharks. I had to do a little bit of soldering, and then I've also just directly wired up whatever power came with this when I bought this diversity receiver, and I've just changed the other end to make sure it fits into an XT60, so I can just plug it straight onto my battery. And the beauty about using this, if this ever goes flat and I'm in the field, I can just switch this battery out to another one that's already in my case, fully charged and ready to go, so I'll be able to keep flying. Alright, so I'm going to show you how this all wires up together and how it works. So I'm just going to attach my antennas on each one of these. Just like that. And a good little tip too, I like using the right angle here because you want this antenna to be as far away from this one as well, just so there's no interference or one antenna doesn't block the other from getting the reception. Just a good little tip. Alright, and now I'm going to connect it to my battery just here. So plug it in my battery, and excuse the mess because this is a lot longer. This is why I want to sort of rebuild this thing as well. One end goes into my diversity receiver to power my diversity receiver, and one end will go into my goggles. So there you go, you can hear them sort of turning on now. Alright, and then we need a way for our signal to come from our diversity receiver into our goggles in our video in. So I've just sort of got these two ports here. These actually came, they look like headphone jacks, but they're not. They actually came with the Fat Sharks when I bought them. So one goes into the diversity out port just here. You can have it running off just one antenna or just off the A antenna or the B antenna, but you have to make sure you plug it into the diversity out so you actually get the diversity benefits. And then the other end just goes straight into my goggles like that. And then if we turned it on, there we go, that's how easy it is, and we'd be ready to rock and roll. Now I'm going to show you the scan function and just how easy it is. I don't have anything on at the moment, so it should just cycle through, but all you have to do is hold it down, and you can see it's cycling through the channels just there, through the 32 channels, and it's back to where it started, because I couldn't find anything, because I don't actually have a quad on at the moment. Alright, so now one thing I hate about ground stations is how long they take to set up. So I fly with a mate, he just whips his goggles out and he's good to go, and I'm so jealous all the time, but I do love using a ground station once it is set up for that crystal clear FPV footage. So we're going to build all this, but make sure that it's in a form factor that is really easy to set up. So no more mucking around in field, less time setting it up and more time flying. So let's see what we need. Alright, now our ground station needs to be mounted sort of on an antenna, and preferably in like a little box or housing or something that makes it quick to set up. So here's what we're going to use. Now I have this old box here. You could use like a lunch box or something like that, some sort of plastic container. This one actually had a whole bunch of screws or nails or something like that in it. So we've got a plastic box. You're going to need some zip ties or something, or some sort of gator straps, and then just sort of some way to fasten it to your tripod. So I've got these little sort of holders just here. Alright, so now we've got all our stuff. We've got to cram all our components and things like that into this box just here. Make sure it's secure, and we can attach it to our tripod or something like that very quickly. So let's get started, and hopefully I can show you what it looks like here. Alrighty, so here it is. I've put it all together and I'm really happy with the way that it turned out. Just going through from the start, you can see up the top here is I've actually mounted my antennas through the plastic, kind of just like you do in the back of your quad when you use a pigtail or something like that. And that's going to let me easily put my antennas on the top and things like that just up here. It really holds it all together in this nice neat little package, and I've got my battery secured in here with some zip ties. I'll open it up and I'll show you actually. So I've got my battery secured in here with some zip ties, as well as sort of the AV cords and the power cords and things like that. So it was really simple to put together as well. It's just held in with a couple of zip ties. So I've got a zip tie here for my diversity receiver, and then just some zip ties holding in my battery and also my cables. And then on the back here, this is how I'm going to attach it, and see, it clips so nicely. This is how I'm going to attach it sort of to my pole or to my tripod, because that's just going to slide up here through the middle. I've also just put in here a little graph or the little sort of frequency table as well, in case I need to check the frequencies. This part, it's really easy to turn on and connect, so I'm just going to plug it in just like this, And that means I can also charge my ground station easily as well. So I'm not going to take this battery out. I'm just going to plug it into charge just here. And then I've just got two little cutouts and there we go. So it's going to be turning on my receiver and things like that. And just as easy to turn off, or I could unplug it. Something I really like as well is it can actually just stand up by itself. So if I'm out at a park or I just want to take this in my backpack, I can sort of squeeze that in just there. Now, one thing I thought about as well is if I should make these cables modular or not. So these are the two that run to my Fat Sharks. You can see that just perfect like there. And I've twisted these cables together because they sort of need to run to the same place. But another thing as well, I thought about how modular do these need to be. So did I want to be able to take these off or not? And the answer was I probably never use my power. It always stays connected just here in this sort of packaging. So I left that. The only thing I did need to think about was if I want to record my DVR or something like that, I wanted to have this available to split open, and I could put in a splitter or something like that so I could run one end to my laptop for some of my future videos. Alright, so I'm super excited about this. It turned out a lot better than I was thinking actually, especially the way it can stand up by itself. I love that. There's just one thing we got to do, and that's how long it takes to set up. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be a lot quicker than the previous way I was doing things, but let's see how we go. Alright, so let's see how long this thing takes to set up. So I got my stopwatch here, and I'll try and set this up as casually as I can. So I've got my tripod just here, and this is probably the easiest part of the whole setup. So that should be ready to go. I've got my little carrying case just here, and let's say I'm flying my Epi because I love flying that one. Alright, whip it out. That slides on this way. Alright, that's looking good. I'm going to plug it in while I'm here. And attach my antennas. Alright, there's one. And two. And turn it on. Alright. And we're ready to rock and roll. So just plug this in. Alright, what's that? Oh, 1 minute and 2 seconds. Not bad. So that's it. I can really recommend getting one of these. It's got great quality components in there that are really good value as well, and it's really going to help with your FPV footage as well. Check out my other video, it'll show you why you should get one. Subscribe for more FPV related content, and as always, happy flying!
Yeah.
It is? Is it recording?
Yeah.
Alright.